Hello, my name is Matrix232, and this is my video on the Operation Heat, basically my final thoughts. I just wanted to make this video and talk about the Operation Heat event as I finished it. So I finished last night pretty late. I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to on Sunday, and it is now Monday. But I finished everything. I got all the vehicles, and and I even finished the last two to get the camos and the extra 3D decals and the fire. So some of the thoughts that I wanted to talk about were. So I was listening to the European Canadians video, and he was talking about how much SL that the average person should have made. Um, I started off the event about 4.7 million SL. If you go back and watch my video from about 2.5 weeks ago at the beginning of the event, I did have 4.7 million SL, and now I'm up to 12.9 million SL. So I made on average 8.2 million SL during the event. I'm hoping that everybody did make that amount of money. I did purchase a few vehicles. I did purchase some boats and some Japanese boats and some Russian boats. So that number could have been higher, but on average about nine. I want to say if you count what I spent, about 9 million SL over the 2 weeks. And that is just from playing vehicles that you feel good, you're comfortable in. So for all those players that are really dying for SL and are always complaining that they don't have a lot of money, a lot of SL to spare, in the event, 9 million in 2 weeks. If you did that for in just basically a month and just grinded out some stuff, that's almost 20 million SL. So think about just going back and playing the events you feel the lower rank and make some SL. One of the things I want to talk about was in my older video, I talked about how the Cobra King you could go in it and get um, most of your kills or the Jumbo, Jumbo right here, and get a lot of your kills. But during the event, a lot of people realized that a lot of people were playing the Jumbo, so a lot of people were taking out 5-7, 5-3 lineups just so they can get down tiered into Jumbo games and just kill you. Um, I did notice 3/4 of the time taking out the Jumbos in this event, I was getting up tiered. Then I realized that what the Jumbo was actually good for during the event was assist. Um, Sometimes I'd go into a game and get 10, 12, 13 assists just just by machine gunning and shooting at people. Because a lot of them were, uh, KV-220s, T-34-85s, IS-2s, IS-1s, and just damaging them and getting the assist. That was working very well. Um, one of the lineups that I was doing for planes getting the 10-ton bombs was the Me-264, backed up by two Doniers, the E4 and the E2, and then if I had to take the Heinkel 111 out. This lineup worked really well because the Donier 217E and the E4 and E2 are only 5.0, so likelihoods of actually seeing jets were unlikely. So you just get into battle, dive at a base. The one itty bitty problem that you had was getting into a match and there wasn't any bases. So that would kind of suck, and you didn't want to J out to get into another battle. Um, so this worked very well. I had two lineups of planes that I was using a lot. Um, Basically, it was like a gold lineup of basically um, every tier 3 plane that I had. IL-2 Avenger, B-20. I didn't take the B-25. The P-2, the the P-63, the Portuguese P-39, the uh, the P the P-47. So I was taking those out, and they were doing really good for the event. Since you couldn't take any tier twos, I was just taking basically every gold plane I had and just earning some money, just being comfortable at a lower tier, 3.7, and getting all the kills that I needed after I did the what's it called, the bombing. And most of the time, I would get the 10 tons, the 11 kills, and sometimes the assist and or the wins. Almost never had to go to the wins though. The 10 wins never almost never had to do that. Um, the boats I was sticking with German boats. I was taking a lot of the battle barges, mainly because that's where I was at in the tree, and I was just grinding them up basically. And these things were really good for doing um, basically damage. And the two planes that I were taking were the Spaviero BIS TM, which is the Spaviero that carries the torpedo on board. It actually looks like it should carry two. If you look at the thing, I don't know if it was ever actually had two at one point, but it looked like it should carry two. And then the Heinkel 111 H6 that does carry two. So as I was doing damage, I would actually take these out and try to torp people to get my three torps. And if I needed to do torps, I was actually just taking my American lineup with the Elko, the Higgins, and the other Elko 80 with the Thunderbolt in the back. And this is what I was basically doing to get the torp kills. And some of the zone caps. And I don't know why, but it seems like you get a lot more points for air kills while you're in Naval Arcade. So I would actually take out the F6F-5 with the torp somebody, and try to get some plane kills. So it was kind of like double thing, um, torping and getting air kills. And in the Russian boats, I was actually taking the P-40E, which is a very good plane when everyone else is, not really paying attention in naval. So I would take this out and get a lot of plane kills, and then every once in a while, if I needed to, I would actually take it with the Fab 500, which is enough to destroy just about any boat you land on. And these are the boats that I was taking for my naval damage. They're all basically 75 and 85 millimeter, 76s and 85 millimeter cannons on these things. Um, did pretty well. You can outrange most of the stuff that you see at 2.3, which was pretty good. Sometimes I was taking the PR122 BIS only because it was premium and get some more money and stuff out of it. Other than that, everything went pretty well. The vehicles that we got were the where is it? The BT7 F32 with the 76 millimeter cannon. I have not drove any of the vehicles out that we've got during the event. Um, because the event just ended yesterday, and after basically a two week marathon, kind of burnt out. So I basically am just logging in to get my dailies, and then I'm gonna go probably play some Borderlands. But final thoughts on the event were it wasn't that hard. Um, as long as you didn't try to play where you were basically in the tree, just if you played where you were comfortable and where you were going to have the most fun in, where you didn't have to stress out, it wasn't that bad. I think Tech was saying it was taking about average about 2 hours a day. That sounds about right. I think mine was probably a little bit longer, about 2.5 hours a day to 3 hours to do the event. Some days it was a little bit less, some days it was a little bit more. But other than that, I think that ended up, it was a pretty good event. All the vehicles that we got, I will probably want to do a video on it later on to talk about how good they are. I'm hoping a lot of people did like me during the event. You actually did your war bond shop, and for me, I ended up getting the battle trophy number 3, and I actually got the LVT. Um, that was one of the things that I did during this event. Was so I ended up getting like 7 vehicles because I got the LVT during the event, and that was pretty good to get the blue item finally out of the vehicle box. So if you used my advice last time and actually used the event to grind out your dailies and your specials, you ended up getting 7 vehicles um, and not 6. So that ended up pretty well. Hope everybody had fun and didn't stress out too much during the event. And if you like this video and want to see more, like and subscribe at the bottom, and just put your comments down, see what you want for later content. As a disclaimer, I am um, an admin at the Tech Hub for the European Canadians Discord, and I basically run a lot of the stuff over there. And that's about it. Thanks, guys.